Okay, friends, welcome back from lunch. Um, Today we are going to go over the life cycle of the butterfly, what we've already been discussing before we went on our lunch break. If you remember, before we left, we read the book, The Very Hungry Caterpillar. Does anybody remember what that was about? Yes, Kelly Marie. Yes, it was about a caterpillar that was very hungry and kept eating a lot of food. What happened to that caterpillar? Bryson? Right. The caterpillar ate so much, it got so fat and wrapped itself into a cocoon. And then, Maya, what happened? Turned into a butterfly. That's what the story was that we read before we went to lunch today. Okay, so we're going to go over what metamorphosis is. Metamorphosis is basically the series of physical changes that an animal goes through in order for it to become an adult version of that species. So in this particular case, we are talking about butterflies. So the first phase that we're going to talk about is what? Can anybody tell me what these are? Eggs. Right. This is the first phase of the butterfly's life. And the eggs are in all different shapes, sizes, and different colors. See, these are tiny little eggs here that are on the leaf. They also lay several of the eggs at one time. So some parents have one or two babies or eggs, and butterflies, they will lay several different eggs at one time. And as you can see here, the eggs are laid on the underside of the leaf. So that's where they hang out until the next phase. So the next phase is the larva, or as what most of you know as from the book that we had already discussed, was the caterpillar. So here's the caterpillar, which is scientifically known as the larva. And in this stage, all it does is eat and grow, just like the very hungry caterpillar, right? All it did was eat and get bigger and bigger and bigger. And they usually eat off of their host plant. The host plant is basically where they're living. Host is like a living situation. So that's what they're eating. They don't really eat lollipops, do they, like in the book? Or chocolate or pears? No, they don't really eat that. They usually eat leaves. Okay, and then the next phase is the third phase, which is the chrysalis or the cocoon. This is where the caterpillar has completely stopped eating. It cannot eat anymore. And then it hangs upside down. As you can see over here, how the caterpillar has hung itself upside down and it spun itself into a cocoon. It wrapped itself into this shiny outer shell which protects it from the environment and lets it transform its body into the next phase. Does anybody know what's going to happen in the next phase? It was in the book that we had already read. Tommy, yes, what is it? The butterfly. So that little caterpillar that was a whole different species, or looked totally different, was the caterpillar. So it emerges from the chrysalis. So when it emerges from that little cocoon sac, it opens its wings. It rests for a couple minutes because it's waiting to get some energy. So like, you know, why we have to sleep or we rest until we do the next thing in the morning. So the butterfly is resting. And then the blood pumps into its wings. And then once the blood is into its wings, it gets ready for flight. So now the butterfly can fly away. And guess what? That butterfly then goes on to start the process all over again. So that process is the reproduction phase. And then it'll continue on. And those eggs will do the same process and turn into the caterpillar, which will then turn into the cocoon and then turn into the butterfly. So this phase goes on, and it just continues and continues. See, the egg to the larva to the chrysalis to the adult. Does anybody have any questions for me? No? All right. Well, thank you so much for learning about butterfly life cycle, and we will continue this tomorrow. We will see you tomorrow.